Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Okay, j-fallon, and thanks for listening. So, look, this story probably raises a lot more questions than it gives answers to. Just going to read through a couple of reports that came through. If you haven't heard, there was an incident at the airport in Sydney with someone getting into a bit of a scuffle with police. Police were armed with a short-barreled rifle, and yeah, it was discharged in the airport. So anyway, I'll bring up these stories so we can check it out. It's interesting how much information AFP don't give. They're extremely grateful, extremely grateful that no one was hurt. Okay, we'll just read through these at the moment. So the first one from ABC News says lessons to be learned after AFP gun fired during Sydney airport arrest. Yeah, so the AFP obviously they're going to conduct an internal review. I am very much against these internal reviews these days. All our police departments need to have people from the outside looking at their actions when things go wrong. A security expert, everyone's an expert, says he expects there will be lessons from an internal review into how a police firearm was discharged during an attempted arrest at Sydney Airport. Australian Federal Police officers were responding to reports of a man allegedly acting suspiciously inside the T2 domestic terminal about 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. This was yesterday. So it's alleged that when officers tried to speak with the man, he became verbally and physically aggressive. A current and retired New South Wales police officer who were both in the area at the time also assisted with the incident. During the arrest, an AFP firearm was discharged into a nearby cafe wall and oven. No one was injured. The 40-year-old man from Victoria has since been charged with obstructing and hindering a Commonwealth official and creating a disturbance at an airport. An internal review has been launched into how the gun, a short-barreled rifle, was fired. AFP acting commander Scott Raven, there he is there, I believe, Scott Raven, said while he could not comment on the circumstances, can't comment, he was grateful no one was injured. I bet you are grateful. It's an understatement, isn't it? All our AFP officers are professional, highly trained, and skilled. Well, are they really? I don't know. Yeah, my opinion of that's not probably not the same. They, yeah, okay. And as part of their duties, at all our airports, we have a counter-terrorism first response, and that includes carrying short-barreled firearms. When that firearm discharged, it was very low to the ground, and it was ultimately lodged only a metre away from where the firearm was discharged into an oven, into that cafe. Security expert Neil Fergus, that's Neil there, who is the chief executive officer of consultancy firm Intelligence Risks, has welcomed the review into how the gun was discharged. Fergus, who has advised the federal government on two major reviews of airport security, said it was possible the AFP may need to review its protocols. No joke. Love to state the obvious. I'm not criticising the officers concerned, but there are always lessons to be learned from any of these incidents. When the AFP are called by airport staff to deal with a matter like this, they are well prepared and trained to deal with it. But were their protocols and training sufficient in this case? Well, you would hope so. You would hope so. That's going to be something for AFP professional standards to look at. AFP officers began using short-barreled rifles in major Australian airports in 2019 as part of beefed-up counter-terrorism measures. Fergus said he was confident such firearms were necessary, and AFP officers had to deal with very challenging circumstances virtually every day. He pointed to a recent security breach at Avalon Airport in Victoria, in which a 17-year-old allegedly boarded a flight armed with a loaded shotgun. The point is that the police have to be appropriately equipped to deal with all these sorts of contingencies. Fergus said he hoped the findings from the internal review would be made public. I believe now they need to be made public so you can have confidence in how they're being trained and what their procedures are. You need to have confidence in the Australian Federal Police at the airport for sure, and it needs to be made public because there's too much hidden information when it comes to police procedure, and when things go wrong, police never want to actually let it be known where their shortcomings are. So it needs to be made public for sure. I don't think they would be going into the operational detail of their preparedness and exercising, but there'll need to be some sort of statement made. Police, so police, whether it's AFP or state police, whatever it is, they always hide behind methodology. We can't give away methodology. Your methodology is a load of rubbish. The 41-year-old man had been granted conditional bail and will face Sydney's Downing Centre local court September 1. So I'll just come over to this report here, this article here, and see this is just a bit more information that the AFP acting commander Scott Raven had said. He's declined to detail how the gunfire occurred, citing an internal investigation. He declined to say whether officers were meant to have a safety feature activated. I haven't looked it up, and I don't know enough about these rifles. I thought they had a safety feature on them, and so yeah, it would be interesting to know. I think it's necessary to find out whether the safety feature was activated. Whilst he goes on to say, whilst I will not go into our practices and procedures of how we actually go about and carry all our firearms, including the short barrel mentioned today, what I can say is all our AFP officers are professional, highly trained, and skilled officers. Wow, come on. When adding the rifles to their armory in 2019. Then Police Chief Reece Kershaw argued the firearms were vital to respond immediately with the appropriate resources to any situation in the airport environment. Okay, I'll tell you, I'm not an expert in airport security. Obviously, I was a former police officer with the Queensland Police Service, and then did majority of my career with Queensland Police Service as a covert surveillance officer, doing surveillance operations with the Crime and Corruption Commission, investigating major and organised crime, this kind of thing, and corruption. However, what I do know and understand about procedure and police and security in these kinds of situations, what they need to be looking at is their procedure. Whether they do have, obviously they'll know already whether they have safety engagement there, whether the safety engagement was actually activated, also the amount of officers that were sent to the initial call out there. I would hope, if this was my operation, I'd be saying, okay, we've been called to this scene here where you've got someone who's behaving in a suspicious manner. You would at least need 3 officers, I would have assumed. It seems surprising to me, and it makes me doubt that there were 3 officers involved in the initial interaction, because a retired police officer and an off-duty New South Wales police officer also helped with the situation. And I would have thought that if there were already 3 officers involved, there probably wouldn't be enough room for someone else to get involved. There shouldn't be. And also, if you're going to attend a situation like this where someone is aggravated, showing suspicious behaviour, I think you would want to go there and show force, in a show of force, if you're going to attend a situation like that. Not that you need to go there and behave in an aggressive manner, but you would need to go there and not just have big guns and say, yep, this is but also go there in a greater number. One person, to me, at an airport like this, one person should have 3 people involved. You want to have someone going there to talk to the person. You'd want to have another person standing, just behind him, looking at the situation and able to interject when necessary. And then I thought you would have to have another person stepping back a little bit further and just being able to purvey the scene. Because Now, this wouldn't be what I would do if you were obviously, if you're going to attend a scene out in the public, but you're in an enclosed situation with a lot of people in very close proximity. So I would assume, if I was in charge here, if I was running things, I'd be saying, well, you'd need at least three people attending the situation, the initial situation call out. So I hope that's what they did. But I find it surprising that well, this gentleman was able to get close to the gun, if that's what's happened, and if it's actually gone off because of his, because of the struggle, and he's able to get a hand on the rifle at all. That's very, very concerning. But then, if it's gone off because the officer hasn't been able to control things, and the officer's finger was on the trigger, or something's happened, and the officer's actually accidentally discharged the firearm, well, that's probably even more disconcerting, I suppose. But look, it's my main thing with this is they need to be open and transparent, which unfortunately Australian police in general, whether it's the feds or state police, tend not to be open and transparent. I I really have I don't like these internal investigations. When we have investigations like this and something happens out in the public, and the public have been placed in danger like this, you shouldn't have just an internal investigation for your own protocols and procedures. You need to have external organizations come in and give an unbiased view, so that for public perception, and so that so the hierarchy know that they're going to get the honest truth about what has actually gone on. And the public need to know exactly what's going on, and need to see that they are being open and transparent. Unfortunately, Australia, like I said, don't have a reputation. Australian police don't have a reputation for being open and transparent when they're investigating their own. And this is what needs to happen. But we'll see. Wait and see what happens. Anyway, my name's j-fallon, and thanks for listening.
You've been